Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy A26 and compare it against the iPhone 16e and see which particular device and which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, the first thing I will definitely tell you is that when it comes down to both of these devices, they're both slightly different, right? The Samsung Galaxy A26 is supposed to be a different type of device at a different type of price than the iPhone 16e. The 16e is going to be one of those phones that I think does hold up fairly well and is better in some ways than the Galaxy A26. But you have to remember these two phones are two completely different price tags. And if you're going to go through and buy a device, you're going to be stuck in a situation where both these devices are going to be doing and giving you pretty similar, they're going to be giving you different experiences at way different price points. So kind of keep that in mind. If you want to pick up these phones or maybe some other phones that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below where you can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular phones. The iPhone 16e, which came out a little bit just like about a month ago, on the front side of this phone is going to be giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And to be honest, it's like a pretty good looking display. It's not really too bad. It's going to be giving you like a pretty decent experience. It's going to look pretty good. And I don't really have too many things to complain about here within that type of device. I think it looks good. When compared to the Galaxy A26 though, it is very interesting because in some ways, it actually isn't really as good as that phone, which is actually pretty insane. But you're getting a notch up top inside of that phone. It overall still looks pretty good, but it is a little bit of an outdated type of panel because most phones nowadays are giving you like 120 Hz displays and with way less bezel, including a dynamic island. With the Galaxy A26, this phone is going to be giving you a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. Now, there's some interesting stuff here for the most part because there is, as far as I can tell, it looks to be like less bezel on the Galaxy A26 at the top, but at the bottom you have to remember there's a little tiny bit of bezel, and technically speaking, the iPhone 16e's bezel to screen ratio is actually higher, so you're getting more screen real estate on the iPhone 16e in proportion of the bezel compared to the Galaxy A26. But it's more dispersed on the Galaxy A26. The biggest difference here though is that the Galaxy A26 is giving you a 120 Hz display, which is crazy because that particular phone costs like significantly less. The Galaxy A26 cost way less than the iPhone 16e, so the fact that that phone is giving you a 120 Hz display and the iPhone 16e is giving you a 60 Hz display is actually kind of annoying to me, and I wish that wasn't the case, but that's kind of where we're at. So from that particular situation, I think the Galaxy A26 on the front side does kind of win a little bit when it comes down to here. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to the bottoms, both of them are giving you USB Type-C ports, which as always is really nice to have. I love having USB Type-C, and that's basically what's going on here for the most part when you're going to go through and pick up both these phones, which again is really nice. You're still going to be getting these, flat sides on both, which again, that in and of itself is another really nice thing. But you're also going to be going through and you're getting these glass backs on the back of both these devices. So this is something that's really interesting on the Galaxy A's because we haven't had a glass back on these phones ever inside of these particular models. And so this is the first time, if I'm reading this right, this is the first time that we're actually getting that. So I do think this in and of itself is a really cool thing to kind of keep in mind there from that particular situation as well. Now, on top of that, when it does kind of come down to these other devices, the Galaxy A26 is giving you this triple camera setup on the back. The iPhone 16e is giving you the single camera. And when you kind of look at it from the outside, I definitely do think both these phones do a pretty good job, for the way they're handling, for the way they look and everything like that. The price tag though is very interesting. The Galaxy A26 on Amazon is about $300, probably cheaper than that for some models. The iPhone 16e is costing $599. This right there is a pretty big difference in and of itself. Like if you're going to go through and pick up a device, it is pretty interesting that with something like an iPhone 16e, that type of device is going to be costing you, significantly more than a Galaxy A26. So if you're going to go through and buy a device, well, that is going to be a pretty big thing in and of itself, that the iPhone 16e costs that much more. When it comes down to the cameras, the iPhone 16e is giving you that single 48 megapixel camera on the back. The Galaxy A26 is giving you a 50 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel ultra wide, then a 2 megapixel macro lens. So when it comes down to both of these, from what I can tell you, both these cameras, are interesting. But the iPhone 16e's camera, I think, is just better here. You're going to be getting that 4K at 60 on the back with 4K at 60 on the front on the iPhone 16e. The Galaxy A26 is not going to be giving you that. That's basically going to be giving you just the standard 4K at 30 on the back, then 1080p on the front. When it comes down to this particular situation, the iPhone 16e is definitely going to be a way better camera here. Even though you are able to zoom in a lot and you have an ultra-wide camera on the Galaxy A26, which is nice, which I wished we had on the iPhone 16e. It's still good enough on the 16e, and I think the photos and videos are going to be more clear, and it's just going to be a better experience inside of the iPhone 16e. So kind of keep that in mind when that comes down to it. Another very big thing is the battery sizes. The Galaxy A26 is giving you a 5,000 mAh battery. The iPhone 16e is going to be giving you a 4,005 mAh battery. So from that particular situation too, you are probably going to be getting the overall better battery experience instead of something like a Samsung Galaxy A26 here than an iPhone 16e. But when it comes down to software longevity, the Galaxy A26 is probably going to be the one that's probably not going to last as long as, the iPhone 16e. The Galaxy A26 could end up getting like 5 years or 6 years of software updates. I'm not really too sure how long just yet, but when it comes down to the iPhones, they do typically last longer. So it's not going to be by a wide margin. It's not like the Galaxy A26 is getting discontinued next year. These things are still here to stay. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. But if you do want the one that might end up giving you a better experience here, it might just end up being something like an iPhone 16e, but the Galaxy A26 is still going to be supported with software for quite some time. And finally, when it comes down to the performance, the iPhone 16e is going to be giving you that, chipset inside. It's like an Exynos chipset with 4 to 8 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 16e is going to be giving you the Apple A18 chip with 8 gigs of RAM. And what I can definitely tell you from the performance side is that the iPhone 16e is definitely, in my personal opinion, going to be the far faster phone here than the Galaxy A26. If you're going to want to get the better performing device here in almost every single way, the Galaxy A26 is going to be very, very average. This is one of those areas where you pay for what you get. The 120Hz display and the glass back and the triple camera setup on the back look nice, but the functionality of these phones could not be more different. The Galaxy A26 is definitely going to be a much slower phone than the iPhone 16e. So if you kind of understand that, then you're probably going to be in good hands, but that's definitely what you're paying for. When you're buying an iPhone 16e, that's basically what you're paying for when it kind of comes down to it. So overall, when I kind of think about both these phones, I will definitely tell you, in my personal opinion, it makes a lot more sense for you to go through and buy something like an iPhone 16e if you have the money, but I wouldn't even recommend buying that phone. If you actually are already going to spend that much money, you can buy a used Samsung Galaxy S23 for around $300 something. That is a far better phone than probably both of these devices. You can buy a used, like an iPhone 14 Pro, and I feel like that phone is also better than both these devices too. So you do have some options. That's kind of the direction I'd recommend going down, and I feel like that's how both these phones kind of compare. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.